Hello and welcome, Mr. Udani. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me here.
So let's begin with you. What was Dhaval Udani like in his childhood? What were his interests and hobbies in his growing years?
So I would probably say that I think I was more of a bookworm than a kind of person. I think my mom would remember me as someone who was very obedient at school, but very mischievous and non-disobedient at home. Uh, but I think a lot of my friends would probably describe me as a bookworm and would describe me as someone who used to like studying. So I think that's what it was.
Perfect. So what is the earliest memory that you have that could have hinted you into social work that you're doing today?
So I think two things that if I have to look back, that stand out very clearly for me.
Mhm.
One is we all raised money as school children, going door to door for different organizations like PRI, HelpAge, and National Association for the Blind. You go to your friends, your uncles, aunts, and try and raise more money than the rest of your class.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as much about social service as much as about you're doing, but a sense of achievement, a sense of doing beating someone and kind of coming first around it. But I think the more impactful thing for me as I grew up was seeing my mother do a lot.
Mhm.
Uh, Someone who continues to give 10% and upwards of her income. But I saw her kind of setting a model for me in terms of, in spite of what little we had at that time, and we did come from a very rich, probably lower middle class family. She yet continued to do something for society on a regular annual basis. It wasn't as if, when you have money, you just do it as a matter of habit. So I think that's something that really stood out for me.
That's really nice. So you've already taken that legacy from your home, from your house itself,
Yeah,
from your family rather. So
right.
since, as I said, we're celebrating the 175th birth anniversary of J.N. Tata, and he championed into the environment, communities, and sustainable growth. How important do you think is it for today's corporate entities to show
Hmm.
such concern for the communities and the environment?
So I don't think I think it's important not just for corporates, but for individuals as well. I think very small percentage of India probably stays and lives and breathes with corporates. But there's a very large India which is disconnected from corporates or not with corporates. There's a large amount of India. At the end of the day, it's each of us who make up corporates. I think it's more important in terms of what each of us does. I think it's been very easy for us to kind of blame somebody else for all the ills, whether it's the corporate, whether it's the government, whether it's the media, whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, what matters is what each one of us does. And each one of us being responsible to our communities, to each other, and trying and doing something to reduce inequities in community, trying to do whatever we can and to the best of our abilities, I think is the most important thing.
Very truly said. So, what was that one trigger that pushed you towards social work?
So, to be honest, I won't say that it is about social work as much as it is about what I believe is the duty of each person. And Give India came in at a very interesting time for me. So I started volunteering with Give India and did that for about 2.5 years before I even joined them full time. But the key impact for me, as I was telling you, was the belief that even Give India has about each donor and each individual making a difference, each individual playing their part towards society and making a difference, is what really drew me to it. I'm also someone who loves the online space, loves technology, and I wanted to see how online and technology could make a difference in this space, and that's what drew me all together. I mean, it's a nice bundle, if you might say, that came my way, and I was good enough to at least latch on to it.
That's nice. So, tell us more about Give India and its initiatives.
Right. So, Give India is a non-profit platform. We have about 200 different organizations across 20 states of India which are listed on this platform. Our key proposition is that we have done a very rigorous due diligence exercise across all these NGOs, and only post that to put them up on our platform for people to donate towards. We realize that we've always seen people want to give, they don't know where to give, they don't know of the organization that they can give towards. They're not aware of organizations utilize the money properly, and they don't know what happened to it, their money. They may know what the organization does in general, but they don't know how their 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000 rupees was spent. And we've kind of tried to aim to help people out by having this platform with, across 10 causes, we have more than 1,000 different programs that people can give towards. And we provide a report on the utilization of every single donation. So when you make a donation to educate a child for 500 rupees, you know what happened to your 500 rupees. I think that's very critical for every donor, and that's what we aim to do, to give the best possible information for a donor on what his money was spent for.
Okay, that's pretty nice. So tell us about the mental journey required to finally take that jump into changing people's lives. So do you have any apprehensions before taking it?
I think I did have a lot of apprehensions before taking it. But I don't think that there was a mental journey involved. I think you just make the jump when you feel the time is right. Other people might that I was deciding for it for over 2 years. But I don't think I was deciding about it for 2 years, probably deciding about it for 2 months. Though the opportunity was there for much longer. I think at the end of the day, you've got to figure out what is the most important thing for you. You got to figure out what is it that makes you happy, and then just do that. I think everything else is secondary. Obviously, I've had the the advantage and the benefit of having a comfort of a home, the security, the finance. To some extent, financial security as well. But I think, it's something that things work out. As long as you're doing what you like doing, everything else works out.
Absolutely right. So which is the one initiative that is closest to your heart?
With Give India?
Yes. Give India and even outside Give India.
So I think the broader aspect of the duty that each of us holds to give itself, I think that is what I hold closest. How you do it, where you do it, when you do it is matter and choice for each and every individual to decide. But I think what is important is that you give, and you give for whatever is your belief, your systems. You look at a lot of information, read a lot, and then make the choice. But to do so is most important, rather than worry about who else should do it and whether my tax money should do it or whether the corporate should do it or whether the government should do it. I think it's there's this concept called the circle of influence and circle of control. You got to do what's within your control rather than try and look outside of it. And I think that's something which is the giving has always been what's closest to my heart.
Absolutely. So for the youth who want to get involved in changing somebody's life, like you have and you have been doing, what are the opportunities that even Give India can give as a platform?
So I think there are many opportunities. First of all, you've got to go out there and make yourself available. I think that's the first thing you have to do. If you think that somebody is going to be telepathic and read the thought in your mind, that's not going to happen. There are lots of organizations today which are looking, especially for young, smart people, including Give India, giving opportunities of work and opportunities to meet with people, to network with the kind of people that you otherwise wouldn't do for the next 20 years of your life. I can honestly say that from my own experience, that had I continued in my previous job, even today I would not be meeting and interacting at the level of people that I am doing in this role. And I would say, in fact, I've been doing now for a few years in this role already. So, one has to leave behind the traditional elements of saying financial and, how much more money or what is my role. You got to kind of get into the journey rather than, and be ready to sail with it, rather than worry about which seat on you're getting.
Perfect. So you're currently an Aspen Institute Fellow. Can you tell more about the India Leadership Initiative by Aspen?
Sure. So the India Leadership Initiative is something which Aspen has taken from the Henry Crown Fellowship, which Aspen runs in the US, and it's a series of about 4 different sessions which we hold for 1 week. where we try and understand what is it that will help a value-driven system, a value-driven leadership, expound different, look at different leaders, what their theories have been, what their actions have been, what their thoughts have been around it, debate it, and try and build a group of people for whom values really matter. Values-based leadership is of great importance, and try and this is a group which is fairly successful. They've achieved a lot in life, but one of the hallmarks that we talk about is from success to significance. Saying, are we doing something which is significant? It's not, success is more personal. I think significance is much more wider and comes at the level of community.
Absolutely. How important is it for today's youth to realize their dreams responsibly?
I think it's important for everyone to do that, and I don't think anyone should consider themselves too old or too young to be able to do it. I think we may not want to put the burden on the youth only, or the burden itself today, because they are faced with a lot of choices, a lot of decisions to be made. But my only point would be, do something that you love doing, because then you're going to give the best of it and you're going to be the most happy about it. Don't do it just because someone says, or I say it's a responsibility, or I say it's a duty to do it. But definitely expose yourself to it, definitely get involved, and make a good informed decision about what you like, what you will like to.
Very rightly said. So how important is to propagate values-based leadership amongst the young leaders of today?
I think it's getting increasingly more important. I think that because what we see a lot in through media, or through our learnings, or through management education, does not talk or emphasize enough about it. Or maybe even if it talks, the actions are not being emphasized as much. We are also losing our role models. We don't have enough role models. So getting people who will talk about values-based leadership actually reinforces in the youth that it's possible to both be good and do good. These are not two extremes, and these are not two diverse elements. And if you can only do one or the other, I think that's something that's the easy way out. And one of the things that we have to be ready for is to take the tough journey forward if you want to also follow a values-based approach.
I certainly agree with you. So who is the ideal for today's youth? Who do you think?
I don't. It's a difficult question to ask with me, because I don't think you can categorize me as youth anymore. But for me, it's been different people for different things. At a very large level, I've really admired the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. I've admired the humility and the way of life of Mother Teresa. I've admired the tenacity of someone like a Narayan Murthy, who can start becoming an entrepreneur at the age of 40, and which is so unheard of, and create an absolutely large company from nothing at that point of time. So I think each of us will have to look at what's important to us in different spheres, and find out what works for us.
Very, very, very truly said. So if today's youth, or in case even if people like me want to get associated with Give India,
Right.
how do we follow the footsteps?
So I think very simply, probably just to begin with, send your CV to careers@giveindia.org. That's the first and the best way. Check out our website. We have volunteering options as well for people who are interested. More than anything else, get in touch with us, because I don't think that we certainly don't have a cookie cutter model around this. We like to look at each person and say how can we use you best? How can we use your skills to the best? Not necessarily what you want to do. You may not make the best teacher, but if you are someone from the communications state, you might really help us improve our communication, which can make a lot more difference.
That's great, and very simple steps probably. I'll definitely be, after I finish up with this session, I'll definitely send out some stuff to you. I'll be definitely volunteering out. So that's it for me from the Give India and your leadership and your contributions to society. What would be what message would you like to give all of us?
Give and give till you can give is all I would say.
That's great. Thank you so much for being with us today and giving us your precious time. It was great having you here.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, thank you.